You are standing in the plumbing aisle staring at three different types of PEX, PEX, rhymes with flex, tubing, and they all look almost identical. But the price tags are different, the labels say different things, and nobody in the store can give you a straight answer about which one you actually need. That frustration ends right now. With over 25 years of hands-on plumbing experience, I am going to walk you through 10 key things you need to understand about PEX-A, PEX-B, and PEX-C, so you can pick the right one for your home with total confidence. And stick around, because when we get to the best use cases for each type, that is where everything clicks together. Plus, I have a bonus tip at the end that most homeowners have never even heard of. The first thing you need to understand is what PEX actually is and why it replaced copper. PEX stands for cross-linked polyethylene, and it is a flexible plastic tubing that has become the dominant material for residential water supply lines across the United States. It started gaining serious traction in the 1990s, though it had been used in Europe for radiant floor heating since the 1960s. The reason it took over is simple. Copper is expensive, it requires soldering, and it corrodes over time, especially in areas with aggressive water chemistry. PEX resists corrosion, installs faster, costs less, and handles freezing conditions far better than rigid pipe. It does not require a torch, which means fewer fire risks during installation. Today, the majority of new construction homes in America use PEX for their water distribution systems. The important thing to know is that all three types, A, B, and C, are made from the same base material, polyethylene. What separates them is how that material gets cross-linked during manufacturing, and that single difference changes everything about how they perform, how they install, and what they cost. The second item on the list is how each type is manufactured, because this is where the real differences begin. PEX-A is made using the Engel method, which cross-links the polyethylene during the extrusion process while the material is still in a molten state. This produces the highest degree of cross-linking, typically between 70 and 85%, and it results in the most uniform molecular structure. PEX-B is made using the silane method, sometimes called the moisture cure method. The cross-linking happens after the pipe has already been extruded, using a chemical process involving moisture and heat. PEX-B typically achieves a cross-link rate between 65 and 75%. PEX-C uses electron beam irradiation, meaning the pipe is extruded first and then exposed to a beam of radiation that creates the crosslinks. This method tends to produce the least uniform crosslinking, usually between 60 and 75%. And if the beam does not penetrate evenly, you can end up with inconsistencies between the inner and outer walls of the tubing. Now, a higher crosslink percentage does not automatically mean one type is better for every application. What it does mean is that each type has different physical characteristics, and those characteristics matter depending on what you are trying to do. The third thing to know about is flexibility and ease of installation. This is where PEX-A really shines. Because of that Engel method cross-linking, PEX-A is the most flexible of the three types. You can bend it to a much tighter radius without kinking, and if you do manage to kink it, you can fix it by simply applying heat with a heat gun. The pipe has what is called thermal memory, meaning it wants to return to its original shape. PEX-B is noticeably stiffer. It still bends well enough for most residential runs, but it kinks more easily, and once it kinks, you cannot repair it the same way. You have to cut out the damaged section and add a coupling. PEX-C falls somewhere in between, but tends to behave more like PEX-B in terms of stiffness. For DIY homeowners running pipe through tight joist bays, around corners, or through finished walls, the flexibility of PEX-A makes a meaningful difference. It saves time, reduces the number of fittings you need, and causes far less frustration during the install. Now, If this kind of practical plumbing knowledge is something you want more of, I have written a guide called 50 Easy Plumbing Fixes that will save you $10,000. It is packed with repairs you can do yourself this weekend without calling a plumber. Scan the QR code right now or check the first link below. All right, let us continue. The fourth item worth understanding is fitting systems and connection methods. This is actually where most homeowners get tripped up because the fittings are not interchangeable between types. PEX-A uses an expansion fitting system. You slide an expansion ring over the end of the pipe, use an expansion tool to stretch both the ring and the pipe outward, then push the fitting in. The pipe shrinks back down around the fitting thanks to that thermal memory, creating an incredibly strong seal. PEX-B typically uses crimp rings or cinch clamps. You slide a copper crimp ring or a stainless steel cinch clamp over the pipe, insert the fitting, and then compress the ring or clamp with the appropriate tool. This system is reliable and has been used for decades. PEX-C can use either the crimp and clamp method or compression fittings, depending on the manufacturer. Here is what matters for your wallet. The expansion tool for PEX-A is significantly more expensive than a crimp or clamp tool. You are looking at $300 to $400 for a quality expansion tool versus $40 to $80 for a crimp tool. However, PEX-A expansion fittings are full flow, meaning they do not restrict water pressure at the connection point, the way insert fittings for PEX-B do. If you are only doing one project, renting the expansion tool is a smart move. If you plan to do multiple plumbing projects over the years, owning one pays for itself. The fifth thing you should know about is burst and freeze resistance. All three types of PEX handle freezing far better than copper or CPVC, but PEX-A has a clear advantage here. Because of its higher cross-link density and thermal memory, PEX-A can expand up to 3 times its original diameter before bursting. That is a remarkable amount of give. If water freezes inside a PEX-A line, the pipe stretches to accommodate the ice and then returns to its original size once it thaws. PEX-B can still handle freezing better than rigid pipe, but it does not have the same degree of expansion tolerance. PEX-C is similar to PEX-B in freeze performance. Now, this does not mean any PEX pipe is freeze-proof. Repeated freeze and thaw cycles will weaken any material over time. But if you live in a climate where pipes freezing is a real concern, like the upper Midwest, New England, or mountain regions, PEX-A gives you the best margin of safety. It is also worth noting that all three types are rated for continuous operation at 200 degrees Fahrenheit at 100 pounds per square inch. So for normal hot and cold water service, all three meet the performance requirements. The sixth item on this list is the cost comparison when you factor in both pipe and fittings. This is where PEX-B becomes very attractive. On a per-foot basis, PEX-B is typically the least expensive, often running 30 to 40% cheaper than PEX-A for the same diameter. PEX-C usually falls between the two in price, but can be harder to find at big box stores. However, you cannot just compare pipe cost alone. You have to factor in fittings, tools, and labor time. PEX-A expansion fittings cost more per piece, and the expansion tool is a significant upfront investment. PEX-B crimp fittings and rings are cheap, and the tools are affordable. But remember, PEX-B insert fittings reduce the internal diameter of the pipe at every connection point, which can affect water pressure in systems with many fittings. For a small bathroom remodel with a handful of connections, PEX-B will save you money and perform just fine. For a whole house repipe with dozens of connections, the flow advantage and easier installation of PEX-A might justify the higher cost. Run the numbers for your specific project before you commit. The seventh point to cover is chemical and chlorine resistance. If your municipality treats water with chlorine or chloramine, and most do, this matters more than you might think. PEX-B actually has the highest resistance to chlorine degradation according to ASTM F 2023 testing standards. The silane cross-linking method produces a molecular structure that holds up better against the oxidative effects of chlorinated water over long periods. PEX-A performs well too, but independent testing has shown it can be slightly more susceptible to chlorine-related degradation over a 20 to 25-year timeline. PEX-C varies depending on the manufacturer, but generally falls behind PEX-B in this category. Now, for most homeowners, this difference is unlikely to cause a failure within the expected 50-year lifespan of the pipe. But if you know your water treatment plant uses high levels of chloramine, or if you have tested your water and found chlorine levels consistently above 2 parts per million, PEX-B gives you extra peace of mind on this front. The eighth item you absolutely cannot ignore is code restrictions and regional approval. This is where people get burned by not doing their homework. Not all types of PEX and not all fitting methods are accepted in every jurisdiction. Some areas operating under the Uniform Plumbing Code have historically been more restrictive about PEX than areas under the International Plumbing Code. California, for example, did not broadly approve PEX for residential use until 2010, and some local jurisdictions within the state still have specific requirements about which types and fittings are permitted. Certain municipalities require specific fitting types, mandate minimum pipe sizes larger than what you might use elsewhere, or require that PEX installations be inspected at rough and before walls are closed up. Before you buy a single foot of pipe, call your local building department and ask 2 questions. First, which types of PEX are approved for potable water in your jurisdiction? Second, which connection methods are accepted? This 5-minute phone call can save you from a failed inspection, a forced redo, or even an insurance issue down the road. The 9th thing to understand, and this is the one that ties everything together, is the best use cases for each type. PEX-A is the best choice for whole house repipes, radiant floor heating systems, and any installation where you are running pipe through tight spaces with lots of bends. Its flexibility, thermal memory, and full flow fittings make it ideal for complex layouts. PEX-B is the best choice for straightforward residential water supply lines, simple fixture hookups, and projects where budget is the primary concern. It is also the better pick if you have heavily chlorinated water. PEX-C works fine for short repair runs and simple connections, but it has the smallest market share and can be harder to source. Fewer manufacturers produce it, which means fewer fitting options and less long-term support. For radiant heating specifically, PEX-A dominates because the system requires long continuous runs with many curves, and PEX-A handles that without complaint. For a basic under-sink repair or a single fixture connection, PEX-B with a cinch clamp is fast, affordable, and perfectly reliable. Match the type to the job, not to the marketing. The 10th and final item on this list is common mistakes when choosing PEX. The first mistake is buying PEX based on color alone. Red and blue. PEX are color-coded for hot and cold, but the color has nothing to do with the type. You can buy PEX-A in red or PEX-B in red. Always check the printing on the pipe itself, which will clearly state A, B, or C. The second mistake is mixing fitting systems. Do not use PEX-A expansion fittings on PEX-B pipe, and do not use PEX-B crimp rings with an expansion connection. They are not compatible, and you will create leaks. The third mistake is exposing PEX to ultraviolet light. All types of PEX degrade when exposed to direct sunlight. Most manufacturers allow a maximum of 30 to 60 days of UV exposure during construction. But once the system is in service, every inch of PEX must be shielded from sunlight. This includes runs through attics with skylights or near windows. The fourth mistake is using PEX for the first 18 inches off a water heater. Most codes require rigid pipe, either copper or a dielectric nipple, for that initial connection before transitioning to PEX. Ignoring this is a common inspection failure. All right, here is the bonus tip that pros actually use but rarely talk about. When you are planning a PEX installation, always run your hot water lines in a home run configuration whenever possible. That means each hot water fixture gets its own dedicated line straight back to the water heater or manifold, instead of daisy chaining from one fixture to the next. Yes, it uses more pipe, but here is what it does for you. It dramatically reduces the wait time for hot water at every fixture because there is less water sitting in the line that needs to be purged. It also means if you ever have a problem with one line, you can shut it off at the manifold without affecting anything else in the house. With PEX, especially PEX-A, running home runs is easy because you can pull long continuous lengths without fittings, and fewer fittings means fewer potential leak points. Professional plumbers who care about quality have been doing this for years, and it is one of those upgrades that costs a little more in material, but pays you back every single morning when the hot water arrives faster. That wraps it up. If this was useful, you will love the full book. 50 step-by-step plumbing fixes with diagrams all in one guide. Link is below. Hit subscribe so you do not miss the next video. Thanks for watching.